That's
Welcome
funny.
into everybody tuning in to the YouTube live stream. Thank you so much for being here. We are officially on episode 138 of One Liberal versus 100 Trump supporters. So over the next 4 hours, you're going to see me have conversations with quite a few Trump supporters. Now, I don't really understand how people could still support Trump today, especially after all of his associations with Epstein, what we've been learning in the last couple of weeks. After his big, beautiful bill ripping benefits away from millions of low-income Americans, destroying this country in a plethora of ways, but there is still millions of Americans that do support him, and we're here today to try to figure out why. In fact, we already have our very first Trump supporter connected to the live stream, BJA. He's 28 years old. Sir, if you'd like to take it away and tell us why you support Trump, you have my attention.
All right. Can you hear me? Is my signal good? Is my signal good?
Your signal is perfect, man.
Okay. You do know it's not, I feel like everybody wants to make it a race thing, but nobody's really focusing on border security here. And I feel like border security is really important. Everybody's trying to stir it up into a race thing, a she thing, a transgender thing. And I don't think that's what Republicans are supporting. I think they're supporting trying to keep the enemy out, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Trying to kick the enemy out. Sir, what's an enemy?
Trying to keep an
Give
enemy.
us a loose definition of what enemy means to you. What does that word enemy mean to you?
Enemy, an enemy can be somebody who doesn't contribute to the country, somebody who is living basically living off the government without even, that could be an enemy too, because that affects all
Enemy?
Americans. That doesn't.
Wait, 1 second. Do you think that all newborns are enemies since they don't contribute and they live off of either their parents or their parents and the government, or in some circumstances, just the government? He left. He left. Okay. I mean, that was just supposed to be an intro question. I mean, he told me what he thinks an enemy is. So that was a very obvious first question. Like, newborns are enemies, folks. You heard it here first. But no, he dipped. Sir, BJ, I'd love for you to come back. We could just ignore that and we could continue on with the conversation and talk about mass deportation and what it does for the country. We could just ignore that you called newborns enemies. We'll just set that behind us, BJ. I want to continue our conversation. So if you still happen to be listening, I would love for you to re-request so we could finish off our conversation. Now, we're going to go to get it looks like we froze for a second over there on TikTok. We're back, everybody. A little bit of a lag spike. We're good now, though. We're going to go ahead and load up that next guest right now. I mean, BJA seriously took the hell off. Super unfortunate. So let's go to get that next guest, Philip, loaded in. And while we're getting Philip loaded in, I'd like to thank AHM for the $10 donation over on Venmo. AHM, thank you for the love. They say, I love watching your videos, Dean. Thank you for all that you do. Well, thank you for your kind words and the $10 donation, AHM, as well as Riley with the $5 over on PayPal telling me I started World War III in the Discord. My apologies for all of the Discordians. I know I said I'd be on earlier than I was. My bad. Now, we're going to move on to the next guest. We got Mr. Mike loading up, and I'm going to go ahead and load up a couple people beside Mr. Mike, because I've been noticing a lot of people will hop in the queue, then like never connect. Maybe it's Wi-Fi issues. I'm not sure what it is. What's going on, Amina? Do you support Trump?
Dean, I love you!
All right, Amina. I appreciate you so much for the love, but I will ask you, please, to follow the rules. Please do follow the rules, Amina. Doesn't look like Mike is connecting, and look who it is. It's BJA. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Listen, I only have about 2 minutes because I'm at work and I'm on the clock and I don't want to get in trouble. Just don't defame my character this time, because I never said babies were the enemies. That's not what I said, sir.
So I asked you if they were the enemies.
No, I was talking about full-grown adults that are living here. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that no more. What question do you have for me?
Okay, for sure. We won't talk about that anymore. Go ahead and tell us like one very specific positive outcome of removing these 12 million enemies from our country, pulling off a mass deportation. What is one specific positive outcome?
I gotta go.
Okay, BJ. He tried again, folks. He tried again. You know what? I'll give it to him for trying again. You know, he like usually when we have guests at the road and dip, they never come back. We never hear from them again.
Yo,
We heard
Cookie.
from him again.
Cookie King mogs you. Cookie King mogs you.
So
Cookie
real,
King mogs
Nathan,
you. Cookie King
especially
mogs you. Cookie King mogs you.
especially with a recent melt maxing. He's absolutely mogging me. Guys, go to Put a Maga with your age down below in that chat if you would like to come up and have a discussion with us. And for the 5,000 people in the TikTok stream, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen and sharing out that live. Welcome in UKN. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
25.
25. Perfect, man. I'm going to pass you the mic. Tell us how you still support this heinous president.
Well, yeah, to start off, I mean, I don't support the Epstein situation. I think a lot of people on the right don't. And I also don't support the Iran war. So get that off the front. But if there was an election today, I would still vote for him simply on the immigration side of things.
Why would you still vote for somebody that you knew was defending a P3DO, a
So wait,
billionaire
are we going to
P3DO
talk
while
about,
he's
hold on.
raping kids?
Are you going to talk? I just said we can find agreement on Epstein. So are you going to
We,
talk about Epstein,
I
or are we
don't
going
think
to
we
talk
can,
about the
because
part
why
that
is
I do agree with,
why is that
which
not a red
is
line for
illegal
you?
immigration? Can I ask you a question? How many
You
people
can't
under
because you
the
haven't
last
responded to my
administration,
president. You
how
haven't
many
responded to my
people under the
question.
last administration were rapists that were crossed over the border? Do you have a number?
We're grapists.
Do you have a number of rapists that were allowed to cross over
Could
the
you say
border
grapist
under
for
the last
TikTok
4
terms
years?
of service for me?
So you're going to pivot. That's called the pivot because you
What?
don't want to answer the question.
Wait, no, I'm asking
So,
you.
so how many criminals from Mexico or other countries were allowed into the country under the last 4 years? If you cannot give me a number, then that is perfect reason why somebody would want to vote for Trump. Your party
Okay.
allowed aliens who are committing crimes into the country, and you know it. That's why you guys lost, and you're going to have to cope with that in order to win the midterms, in order to win future elections.
All
Because if
right.
you can't simply state who you let into the country, then you don't have borders. If you don't have borders, then you don't have a country, Dean. And I think you're smart enough to know that.
All right. Let me know when you're done, man.
You asked for a reason. That was the reason.
Perfect. So you accused me of pivoting when I asked you to use TikTok friendly language. Like instead of saying rapist, I asked you to say grapist.
Okay. I mean,
sir, can you
you're
do
going to
this
either
without-
address it or you're not going to address it.
Well, I'm going to address everything you just said if you give me more than 5 seconds. Everything that you just said is something I'm going to address in my next breath. You just got to give me
Floor
more
is
than 5
yours.
seconds. So I don't understand why you'd refer to that as a pivot. I don't think that you know what a pivot is. Me just asking you to use TikTok friendly language.
Okay. The floor is yours. So explain your side.
Obviously the floor isn't mine if you're interrupting me. Do I need to put you on mute? I hate when I have to do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and now repeat what I said for a third time. You told me that I pivoted when I was just simply asking you to correct the words that you're using to use TikTok safe language. I don't understand where that comment came from. And then you asked me a question there. You said, well, Dean, how many rapists came into the country in the last 4 years? And then you changed your question to how many criminals. I think that you meant to ask the same question, but not all criminals are rapists. So you asked two separate questions. So I'm unsure what number you want me to give. What number you want me to give you? If it's the amount of like hardened criminals or criminals that are rapists. I mean, now I don't know because you're asking me multiple things. But here's what I will say about crime, and more specifically violent crime. Well, if you knew numbers, if you knew the facts, if you knew the stats, well, then you'd also know that in this country, undocumented immigrants are 2.5 times less likely to commit any and all violent crimes compared to natural U.S.-born citizens, 3 times less likely to commit property crimes, and 4 times less likely to commit petty crimes. And if your retort or response to that argument is to say, well, even though they're less likely to do these things, if they never came in, they wouldn't be doing any of these things, so it still matters. Well, guess what? A mass deportation would have very significant impacts on the American economy. The Center on American Progress tells us it would reduce our GDP by an estimated 1.1 trill through 1.7 trill per year, as well as it would create a lot of inefficiencies in the production of American goods and commodities. Why? Because we're forcefully laying off 8.3 million laborers and forcefully kicking out 12 million consumers. What does that amount to? A weaker economy. What comes with a weaker economy? More poverty. What comes with more poverty? More crime. So I hate it when I hear these two-faced, hypocritical Trump supporters talk about how they just want to crack down on crime, but then you turn around, you use the scapegoat of undocumented immigrants as an enemy, even though they're more safe on average than you, a U.S. natural-born citizen, and you advocate for policy that will simply cause more crime, nominally speaking. And then the cherry on top is that you put a criminal into the Oval Office. And the second cherry on top is you put a grapist in the Oval Office. So I'm not so sure that you really care about crime and grape too much at the end of the day. No response, bro?
Am I allowed to speak? Okay, I wasn't sure if I was muted. All right, no, you're good. You're good. No, yeah, no. Again, this point still stands. You are completely obfuscating federal law. Again, your party willingly allowed millions of people into the country to purposefully get political support because you know that there's a lot of elections that Democrats aren't poised to win. So you have to immigrate the vote, which is why they're allowed to get on sentences, which is why Elon Musk and many other Republicans on the right are trying to fight that because, again, it's just for political power. So, again, if you can't explain to the audience how many people, because the answer is there, you don't know. We don't know. Mayorkas never knew. The reason why he never knew is because if you don't have control over your borders, you don't know who's within your country. Okay? If you don't know who's within your country, then you have serious national security problems, which many people, both on the left and the right, can agree have happened under the 4 years, which is, again, the reason why you guys lost the election. So if you're going to be in
Would
denial,
you like to know the reason why you're losing this debate?
I don't care what your opinion is, Dean.
Well, obviously, you cared enough to request up. I'm gonna tell you the reason why you're losing this debate, because you just managed to speak for 45 seconds while not responding to a single thing that I said. It's a skill. It's a big skill, I promise, man. Like, you didn't respond to the fact that I brought up the statistic that undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit all crimes. You didn't respond to the fact that if we were to pull off a mass deportation, it would significantly weaken the economy, causing a higher total number of nominal crimes. You didn't respond to the fact that you don't care about crime or grape because you voted a criminal grapist into the Oval Office. You just simply went back to a new claim without responding to anything that I said, saying that, well, the Biden-Harris administration let so many people in to get more votes in elections. Well, I guess I'll respond to that one too, so then you'll have a whole lot of claims to respond to on the platter today. Undocumented immigrants can't vote. Wow, shocker. Because what do you need to vote? To be registered first. In all 50 states, registration is required to enable to vote. And what else is required in order to register?
Not in city and state elections.
A social security number. So that it's just absolutely, it's insane to me.
First of all, not in city and state elections, number one, and number two, you're trying to obfuscate as if you don't know that people are not obtaining fake social security cards and getting on ballots. Okay, so you're obviously purposely misleading the conversation. Again, we're talking about federal policy, national security, and foreign affairs. If you cannot, as a party, control your borders, you will continue to lose elections. And you can either address that, okay? If the initial action is a crime, then you're already losing. And that's the point. Every single person who crossed the border illegally or overstayed a visa is committing a federal crime, period.
Okay.
And so there's no way around it.
Okay, so now you didn't respond to the second claim that I made. So not only have you not responded to any of the first claims that I made related to the crime rates of undocumented immigrants, how we'll see more crimes if we do a mass deportation, or how Donald Trump is a criminal himself, then you also didn't respond to the second claim that I made related to how undocumented immigrants can't vote in any elections because they don't have a social security number. You just simply responded to that by saying, well, not in city or state elections. Actually, yes, it is against the law for an undocumented immigrant to vote in any and all elections, including city and state elections. And yes, in all states, while the requirements are set by the states, all 50 states have set requirements requiring proof of residency and citizenship for every single city and state election in this country. So you're also wrong. I would hate to be as wrong as you so often, and I'd also hate to be as spineless as you so often. And the reason that I'm calling you spineless is because you seriously haven't responded to a single thing that I've said since you joined this live. But that doesn't matter because I could respond to every single thing that you've said. You said, well, it is instrumental to this country to have secure and safe borders. Okay, well, then make it make sense that Donald Trump has done nothing to effectively make our borders more secure and safe safe in the long run. What has he done? He's deployed some troops to the border and also reorganized the incentive structure for undocumented entry, scaring entry away by suggesting to the immigrants that if they enter into the country, they're going to have their human and constitutional rights violated. My evidence for this theory isn't just the fact that we've seen the human and constitutional rights of undocumented immigrants in this country violated, like Abrigo Garcia or Mahmoud Khalil, who wasn't even an undocumented immigrant, he was a legal green card holder, but it's also the fact that we've seen reductions in tourism, we've seen reduction in travel for leisure and travel for business.
Am I allowed to speak?
And the reason why this is not going to be a long-term solution for border security is because, one, it is the case that it's incredibly immoral, and two, it is the case that it's short-term. The moment we don't have a fascist in chief, guess what? That incentive structure is reversed, and without a long-term solution, like making the legal means of entry into this country
Let me
better,
know when I'm allowed to speak.
for sure, man, I will. And without a long-term solution to make legal entry into this country better, well, what will we see? Just more undocumented entry at that point in time. So I'm going to make it very clear, because I have a good memory. You have a lot on your plate to respond to here. And I would recommend you catch up before you lose yourself. One of the things that you have to respond to is the fact that undocumented... No.
So the main point...
You're not ready to talk yet. I'm going to tell you the things that you have to respond to. I need to... Because you haven't responded to anything. We've been talking for 10 minutes. There's a lot of points that you have to respond to, sir. It's time that you pay your debt.
You haven't addressed the policies that lost you the...
I've addressed literally every single thing you've said so far, and I'm going to go ahead and lay out to you everything that you have to address. You have to address the fact that undocumented immigrants are 2.5 times less likely to commit violent crimes, 3 times less likely to commit property crimes, and 4 times less likely
The
to commit
initial act is a crime. The initial act is a crime.
Sir, I'm going to need you to stop talking. I need to tell you everything that you have to address. We have to be able to get on the
initial act is a crime.
Sir, you're freaking out. I need you.
You're not addressing it. You're not addressing.
Now he's going to do the whiny baby thing. I need to tell you everything that you have to address. He's whining like a baby. Everyone, just give us a minute. Okay. All right. I'm going to go over all the things that you have to address. There's quite a long list because
is the initial act a crime?
Oh my goodness.
Is the initial act a crime?
Dude, I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to let you just interview me. Because that's kind of what you're doing. You're interviewing me.
But you can't answer the question, though.
I've answered every question that you've asked, including this one. Is the initial act of undocumented entry a crime? It's a misdemeanor offense, right? And the claim that undocumented immigrants are less likely...
Crossing the border illegally is...
What are we doing? Can we calm down a little bit? I'm literally answering this new question right now, and you're not even letting me answer this new question.
But you're incorrect. Right, you are incorrect.
Really?
You're incorrect. You're 100% wrong.
Wait, I'm incorrect?
Crossing over the border illegally is a federal crime. Overstaying a visa is a misdemeanor, which is still a crime.
Oh my goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Dude, did you know that there's misdemeanor crimes?
Both crimes.
Did you know that there's misdemeanor crimes? Did you know that a misdemeanor isn't in a separate category from crime? You have misdemeanor crimes and felony crimes?
Crossing over the border illegally. Crossing over the border illegally is a federal criminal offense.
Right, it's a federal misdemeanor offense. Criminal misdemeanor offense. Dude, fucking hell. What are we doing?
Crossing over the border is a federal criminal offense.
I know it is. Yes, it is a federal misdemeanor criminal offense. That's what it is. Yes. Jesus Christ. All right, man. I'm going to go over and tell you all the things that you have to respond to here, because there's quite a few that you have. So the first point that you have to respond to is that when undocumented immigrants are in the country, they're significantly less likely to commit all of these crimes that I've already listed off.
They should not be here in the first place.
Dude, I'm sorry.
They should not be here in the first place.
What do you expect?
And this is why you lost the election. But this is why you lost the election.
Sir, do you mind
if you continue to be in denial, you'll continue to lose elections.
Okay.
Because you won't address it.
What haven't I addressed? Because like I said, I could name 15 things that you haven't addressed. You haven't addressed that they're significantly less likely to commit any and all crimes once they're already in the country. You haven't addressed that if we were to pull off a mass deportation, it'd significantly weaken the economy and increase rates of all crime. You haven't addressed the fact that if you truly do care about crime and rapists,
it is a federal criminal offense.
Then why do you support a criminal as well as a rapist inside of the Oval Office? I mean, you haven't addressed any of these things. You didn't address any of the specific economic data I gave you to justify the view that if we do a mass deportation, will increase all levels of crime. You haven't addressed the fact that you made the claim that undocumented immigrants can vote in city and state elections. I corrected you on that. In all city and state elections in all 50 states, you have to be registered and you have to possess local residency as well as an SSN in order to cast a vote. There are 7 or 8 things right now that you haven't addressed. So the next words that I want to be out of your mouth are to address like at least one of those 8 things, or like an explanation of why you're not addressing any of those 8 things.
Smoke your vape and relax, bro. Okay, calm
I'm
down.
pretty
Take a deep
relaxed. I'm
breath.
just simply asking you why you
Okay,
haven't addressed any of those things.
you are misleading your audience. Let me explain if you let me talk. Okay,
Can you learn how to
the main
debate? Like
point
a debate would
is there's
require
a
you engaging with my
distinction
points.
when you cross over the border illegally. That is a federal criminal offense. Period. No misdemeanor. A federal criminal offense. If you overstay your visa, that is a federal misdemeanor offense. Both different things. They're not the same things, they're different things. So you cannot combine them and talk about them as if they are the same things. Okay? Both are breaking federal law. So, right off the bat, every single human being you're talking about who contribute, you say, to the economy, which I would argue they don't. And if we want to get into that, that'd probably take hours. Okay? But the point is that their initial act is a crime. And you
Mhm.
cannot have a country if the initial act of gaining entry is a crime. They don't do that in Saudi Arabia. They don't do that in Iran. They don't do that anywhere else. So the double standard on how you won't address the distinct differences about those two things
I'll address it right now.
is why you lost the election.
I'm
And that's
going.
just it.
So, I mean, I'll happily address it right now. And I hope after I address your statement here that it's a federal criminal felony offense, you'll address any of the 8 points I made that you've just been skipping over and ignoring. I will say though, man, you understand that you're not the only person listening to this conversation. As we speak, there's close to 2,000 people on YouTube listening to this convo and 6,000 people on TikTok listening to this convo. Everybody knows that you're ignoring those 8 points that I brought up, except for you. I don't know why you keep acting as if you're not ignoring
Because
them.
you're obfuscating the only point I brought up.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
you can't
Okay,
address
that's fair.
that
Fine.
single point,
Fine. I'll
then
address.
I can't address
I'll-
any of your
okay.
points one by one, which I'll gladly do.
Okay, so
I will say
if I
this.
address
To address one other.
so then I'm gonna address that single point. So you're saying that it is a federal criminal offense to enter into this country illegally. Okay, congratulations, it is. Under 8 USC Penal Code 1325, it is a federal criminal offense. However, you understand that criminal offenses on the federal level, state level, and local level are categorized into two separate categories. You have misdemeanor criminal offenses.
Yes, I just
one,
laid it
one
out,
moment,
Gene. I don't want
one
to.
moment,
I don't want to
and
be
you, dude. Don't interrupt me while I'm answering the one question that you're so
because I
hell-bent
know
on me
the
answering.
difference. You're trying.
Obviously, you don't, or you wouldn't be making the silly point. You're gonna let me finish speaking. Can you hold off a little bit? Just a little bit. Thank you. So, criminal offenses on the federal, state, and local level are separated into two categories: felony criminal offenses and misdemeanor felony offenses. Misdemeanor criminal offenses, right? And typically speaking, what we see as adjudicated in case law and historically is that for the first instance of
In question,
entry,
right? Question. I have
no,
a question. I have a question.
for the first instance of undocumented entry, courts classify that as a misdemeanor criminal offense. In fact, I'll even give you my
Are they both
dude.
crimes? Are they both crimes?
Yes.
Is
yes, they are both crimes. So once again, the case law to
Okay.
demonstrate.
So we found.
So the case law to demonstrate that the first account of undocumented entries classified as a misdemeanor criminal offense can be found under American Immigration Council. Just go on Google, type in American Immigration Council or AIC, prosecuting people for coming into the United States. You'll find a fact sheet that's around 5,000 words long and includes sources as well as depictions and references to case law to demonstrate that the first offense is typically adjudicated as a misdemeanor. Now, please respond to any of the 8 points that I brought up now that I've given you a very detailed,
So
nuanced
again,
answer
you're
to one
incorrect.
question.
We can't move past the first point.
Okay, what am I incorrect
if you're
about?
incorrect on your claim.
What am I incorrect about
Okay.
very specifically?
So let me explain if you let me talk. Now, are you going to let me speak?
For sure.
Okay, thank you. So the point I'm trying to make is this. You're obfuscating the misdemeanor criminal offense and a regular criminal offense under federal law.
What is a regular criminal offense?
You have a federal criminal offense and you have misdemeanors. They're two distinct different categories of crime under federal law. Okay? So the point I'm trying to make is this.
Bro,
If your
you're
whole
wrong.
foreign policy,
You're
your
wrong.
whole foreign policy,
Sir, you're wrong. That was all just gibberish nonsense. Everything that you just said was make-believe. So misdemeanor offenses and criminal offenses are not two separate things. Misdemeanor offenses can fall under criminal offenses. Like criminal offenses are separated into typically 2 categories: misdemeanors and felonies. You're wrong.
Your national security policy for your party is to obfuscate federal law when it's convenient for you.
What am I
When they're
obfuscating
people
on
you
specifically?
think, because you're trying to avoid federal crime.
Yeah,
Your whole
I'm
argument
telling you why
is
you're
to
wrong about your claims of federal crime.
to glass over the fact that your party allowed in 20 million illegal aliens into the country, and
What?
you cannot address that
Buddy,
each
you're
and
pivoting
every one
away
of
from your
them,
own question.
each and every one of them is a crime.
Okay.
And if your policy, your
I'm
national security
I'm
policy,
obfuscating
is
away
based
from
in
that?
crime, then you don't have a country.
Sir, real quick, can you please give me a source to demonstrate that misdemeanor offenses are categorized separately from criminal offenses? Because
Are you denying that they're a crime? Are you denying that a misdemeanor offense is a crime?
No, I'm actually arguing that misdemeanor
Okay,
offenses are
so
crimes.
they're a
You're the ones
crime,
arguing that they're
and
not.
if you have a country that chooses when they want to apply the law.
1 second. You're the one arguing that they're not crimes because you said that federal criminal offenses are
No,
separate from misdemeanors.
No, I'm saying they're both federal offenses. However, they're categorized differently.
Right. Give me a
both crimes.
So give me a source that misdemeanors are categorized separately than federal crimes.
Are you gonna? No, you're not listening. You're not listening. Let me explain again. They are both federal crimes.
There
Okay,
we go.
we are debating over a mute point. The point I'm trying to make, which you still have not addressed, is that why you're excusing.
So I'm going to mute you real quick. For everybody watching, have I addressed every point? One second.
No.
Sir. For 1 second.
You
sir.
have not.
Wait 1 second, sir. For everybody watching, have I addressed everything that he said? Let's just get a quick yes or no real quick in the chat. Have I? Yes. Okay.
Your answer
I've addressed
addressing the point.
1 second. 1 second. I've addressed everything you've said. Hey, chat, real quick. Has this guest addressed anything that I've said?
They both crimes. You still have yet to answer.
1 second. Is this guest no? Okay, man. I'm gonna go ahead and make it easy. I'm gonna let you make one more. 1 second. 1 second. I'm trying to offer you an olive branch here. I just want you to stop talking and listening to me real quick. I'm gonna count down from 10. Just stop talking by the time I reach 1. By the way, you're on mute. Feel free to take yourself off mute. Like I said, I don't like playing the mute game. 10.
Well,
9,
you have. So
8,
the points I'm trying
7,
to make. To
remember,
you
I'm asking you to stop talking. 7.
Listen.
No,
dude,
no. You're listening to me. 7, 6.
The point
5,
is that you are obfuscating.
Dude,
both
what are we doing?
crimes.
What are we doing? We need to clear this up. Just the relentless
You gonna let
gap.
me speak
No,
a
I'm
sentence or
I'm
not?
actually not. I'm gonna ask you to be
Because
quiet.
if you're not, then you're going to be talking to yourself. It makes no sense.
I'm trying to
let
offer
me
you an
address
olive.
a point, and I'll let you talk.
No.
I'll let you talk.
I'm gonna talk first.
Explain my point.
Sir, with all due
So then if
respect.
you're not going to let me explain
With all due
my
respect,
point,
I am.
I don't need your respect.
I am gonna let you explain or make any point. I just need you to listen for 5 seconds while I extend an olive branch, so we could hopefully increase the productivity of this dialogue. I bet we could both agree that so far this conversation has been anything but productive. I'm trying to extend an olive branch to you right now to make this conversation more productive. You are doing a very clear disservice to your side of the aisle right now. If you truly believe in what you stand behind, if you truly think that Trump is a good president for this country, and you truly believe that the conservatives have it right, then please appropriately and maturely represent your side of the aisle. Because right now you're doing your side of an aisle a grave disservice. You are representing the Republicans right now like a child. You are making Republicans look weak. You're making Republicans look uneducated, and you're making Republicans look incredibly unstable and emotionally immature. Okay? So stop doing that to your side of the aisle. If those are truly the beliefs that you stand behind, act your age, be an adult, and just be quiet for 5 seconds while I'm trying to do something nice for you, by extending you an olive branch. Okay? But I don't want to play the whole mute game. So I want to be able to speak to you as an adult without having to forcefully restrain your ability to speak like a child, right? I'm not the kindergartner telling you to put a bubble in your mouth or you're supposed to go to the principal's office. It's not what we're supposed to be doing here. We're both adults. Let's act like it. So I'll mute the mic, then I'm going to speak to you. You're going to listen to me, and then I'll let you respond. That's fine.
I've been letting you speak the whole time.
That is a blatant lie. Stop it. Thank you. All right. And now I'm going to say what I wanted to say. I'm going to extend you an olive branch here. So far in this conversation, what I've taken away is that you want me to address and respond to anything and everything that you have to say, but you don't want to address or respond to anything and anything that I have to say. All right? I've responded to every point that you've made, You've responded to 0 of the many points that I've made. So the olive branch that I want to extend to you is as follows. Feel free to ask one more question or make one more statement that you want me to respond to. And then after you make ask one more question or make one more statement that you want me to respond to, then I am going to ask you to respond to a handful of things that I've said so far. Is that fair?
Sounds great to me.
Okay, take it away.
Okay. So the main point I'm trying to make again is that there's a distinction between crossing over the border illegally and overstaying a visa. Okay? When you cross over the border illegally, it is categorized not as a misdemeanor federal offense. Overstaying a visa is categorized as a federal misdemeanor criminal offense. Both are illegal. And my main point, which you incorrectly addressed, which is my point, because if we can't get past this, then we can't talk about your take on the economic benefits, which I disagree with.
What you just made was one
which
point.
is
you just made your, remember how I asked you to make one, you just made your one point. So you're saying that undocumented entry into this country by illegally crossing the southern border is not a misdemeanor. Okay. That's very specifically what we're going to discuss. Remember, we can talk about multiple things. We just can't talk about multiple things at once. We'll talk about one thing at once. And the tactic that you've tried to use so far in this conversation, it's called a Gish Gallop. A Gish Gallop is where you like to throw a lot of things.
It's just a conversation.
I'm explaining what you're doing. It's not a conversation. It's not a good faith conversation, at least. It's a bad faith conversation because you're employing what's called a Gish Gallop. A Gish Gallop is where you throw a bunch of points at once. You try to overwhelm your opponent. Okay, that's bad faith. That's unfair. Let's break it down one point by one. So the one point you just made was that undocumented illegal entry into this country over the southern border is not a misdemeanor offense. Well, all right, I disagree. Under American law, USC Penal Code 1325, the prosecution of undocumented entry over the southern border as a first-time offense is typically adjudicated as a misdemeanor. I'm now going to give you a source that would demonstrate case law, as well as all relevant information to demonstrate that what I'm saying here is true and that what you're saying here is false. You could find this by going online, searching up American Immigration Council prosecuting people for coming into the United States. This was a fact sheet published on August 22nd, 2021, demonstrating that a first-time offender of undocumented entry over the southern border is typically classified as a misdemeanor.
You've talked way more than me, so can I speak, or is this going to be unfair time? Okay.
I think this
the
is
point
probably,
I'm making. The point I'm making
no,
is that they're crimes, and you're trying to avoid addressing that they're crimes.
No, the point that you made was that it wasn't a misdemeanor, and that's the point that I just responded to. Please address my response. If you can't address my response, I'm going to kick you. And the reason I'm going to kick you under that circumstance is because you don't have an ability to debate. An ability to debate would require you responding to the things that your opponent said. I asked you for one point. The one point you made very clearly is that you do not think that undocumented entry over the southern border is a misdemeanor. You said that was false. I then debunked
what
that
I'm
claim.
saying to you is that your party allowed for crime to take place.
That's a pivot. You've now been muted for the pivot. There's strike one. Remember, I'll give you the guide rails so you know what you're supposed to be responding to. You're supposed to be responding to the information that I gave you to demonstrate that it is a misdemeanor offense to enter into this country illegally over the southern border. Go ahead and unmute and try again. Please unmute, sir, and try again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Please try again to respond to my rebuttal that proves that it is a misdemeanor to enter into this country as a first-time offender illegally at the southern border. I can't hear you when you're on pause, man. You have to be able to see me in order to speak. Go ahead.
Under Section 8 of the United States Federal Code, it is illegal to cross over the border. Okay?
Okay.
And so the point I'm trying to make is that
So there's number two. I now muted you this time for a non-answer because if you heard what I had to say, I actually gave you Section 8 of the USC Penal Code 1325 to demonstrate that it is a federal crime, and then I gave you case law from the American Immigration Council to demonstrate to you that that federal crime is adjudicated.
So
as
we
a
can agree
misdemeanor
it's a
offense.
crime. So we can agree it's a crime, correct?
Yes, it's a crime. It's a misdemeanor offense. You made the claim that it's not a misdemeanor offense. Okay.
No,
I
I
want you to
made the
respond
claim
to
it was
that.
a crime. I made the claim it was a crime.
Okay.
And
So now we're gonna go ahead and roll back the clip on YouTube so you could hear where you explicitly
the
say.
main claim,
Now you're gonna go ahead and hear where you explicitly said that you said it was not a misdemeanor offense.
I said it was a crime. I said it was a crime.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
I
prove
said
you.
it was a crime.
I'm gonna prove you wrong with your own voice.
You can. It's a crime.
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Is it not a crime? Are you disagreeing?
I'm gonna prove you wrong with your own voice. Okay. Here we go.
Can you answer one question that I have? Is it a
The many
crime?
points that I've made. So the
Is
olive
it a
branch
crime?
that I want to extend.
We're listening.
We're listening to something. Feel free to ask one more question or make one more statement that you want me to respond to. And then after you make ask one more question or make one more statement that you want me to respond to, then I am going to ask you to respond to a handful of things that I've said so far. Is that fair?
Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Okay. So the main point I'm trying to make again is that there's a distinction between.
Okay. I want you to unmute and listen to yourself very closely.
But it's a crime, and you're not addressing that main point, and that's.
Stop talking and listen to what you said.
Is it a crime? It's a yes or no. It's a simple yes or no.
I'll give you the same response that I give in the last billion times. Yes.
Is it a crime?
Yes, it's a misdemeanor crime. Now listen to what you
Okay,
had to
it's
say.
no. Is it a crime? Is it a crime?
Yes, it is. It's a misdemeanor criminal offense.
So the basis.
Now you're gonna listen to what you had to say.
So the main point I'm trying to make again.
Bro, stop talking. Listen to what you said. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And listen to what you had to say.
Smoke your vape, bro. Just calm down.
You are the one that needs to calm down. Stop
It's a
talking
crime.
and listen.
It's a crime.
Bro, you're malfunctioning. He's malfunctioning. I just want to be able to play you this clip of you speaking. Stop it.
Is that there's a distinction between crossing over the border illegally and overstaying a visa. Okay? When you cross over the border illegally, it is categorized not as a misdemeanor federal offense. Overstaying a visa is categorized as a federal misdemeanor.
Okay, there you go. You said crossing over the border illegally is not categorized as a misdemeanor felony offense. I proved that claim wrong. Acknowledge
No,
that.
you did not. No, you did not.
So the way that
if you cross over the border,
I'm gonna prove it wrong again. So the way that I proved your claim wrong when you said it was not a misdemeanor offense was giving you case law demonstrated through a fact sheet posted by the American Immigration Council. Once again, you could find the case law to demonstrate that this is adjudicated as a misdemeanor offense by going on Google, typing in American Immigration Council.
Are you denying that crossing over?
Prosecuting people for coming into the United States. That is a fact sheet that demonstrates it is adjudicated as a misdemeanor offense. Will you address that?
Again, so thank you for actually answering a little bit ago that it is a crime. So again, the point I'm trying to make
you're going to address
is
what I
that
just said.
your policy is based on.
You're going to address the fact that I gave you more than enough evidence that it's a misdemeanor.
So that's it. So you kind of actually, now that I think about it more, it's actually funny because you acknowledged that each one of those 20
You're not addressing the fact that I was able to give you evidence to demonstrate that it's a misdemeanor.
are
Please do that now.
criminals. They're criminals.
You have 3 strikes. You have 3 attempts to address the fact that you said it wasn't a misdemeanor, and I gave you evidence it was. Take it away. Debate my point. Debate my point.
I said they were both federal crimes, which I'm correct on.
You said that it was not a misdemeanor. That's what you were incorrect on. Address that.
I said they were both federal crimes, and instead of addressing my point, you're going to say
said that we just
misdemeanor
play it again.
and overstaying a visa. Okay? When you cross over the border illegally, it is categorized not as a misdemeanor federal offense.
Dude, you just heard yourself say that you said that it was not categorized as a misdemeanor. I gave you evidence that it is categorized as a misdemeanor. Address it.
I categorize it as a federal criminal offense.
Wait, are you acting as if I'm not playing you this clip?
The point I'm trying to make again is that there's a distinction between crossing over the border illegally and overstaying a visa. Okay? When you cross over the border illegally, it is categorized not as a misdemeanor federal offense.
You just said
overstaying of these.
You said that undocumented entry over the border is not categorized as a misdemeanor. That's what you just said. We all just listened to it for a third time. I gave you evidence that it was categorized as a misdemeanor. Address that point.
Can I get 20 seconds to speak, or is that not allowed?
As long as those 20 seconds are that you're using to speak.
Well, you can't be the moderator
and I gave you evidence it was a misdemeanor.
It's not equal time. So if you don't allow me to have equal time to speak, then it's not fair.
I'll allow
So
you
you
that
may
equal.
disagree.
I'll allow you the equal time if you address the point. Right. The point is that I gave you evidence it was a misdemeanor. And you said it wasn't a misdemeanor.
What I'm saying
No,
is that
address the fact that I gave you evidence it
crossing
was
the
a
border
misdemeanor.
illegally, and overstaying a visa are both crimes that you are allowed with having, as long as it supports your political ends.
You're still not addressing the point. You very specifically said that it wasn't a misdemeanor. I gave you evidence that it was a misdemeanor.
We cannot have a functioning country if you have.
You're still not addressing the point. Address the point. Address the point right now.
They're both crimes.
Why is he running away from the point? For everybody watching, what should I even do with this guy? Like his brain is malfunctioning.
Is it a yes?
He's breaking away from reality right now.
Is it a federal?
He's like breaking away from reality.
Is it a federal crime? Is it a federal?
I'm going to give you one last opportunity to address the fact that I gave you evidence it's a misdemeanor.
Are both federal crimes?
What was my answer the last 20 times?
So you're okay with that as your policy? Just say yes. It's a crime.
I'll tell you what I think the policy should be after you could address the fact that you claimed it wasn't a misdemeanor and I gave you evidence it was a misdemeanor. This is your last opportunity. I'm going to go to make it clear. If you do not address this point the next time you open up your mouth and speak, you are going to be very promptly and swiftly kicked from the live stream. I've given you more than enough leniency here. The next time that you open your mouth and speak, if it is not to address the point that I gave you evidence that it is a misdemeanor criminal offense, after you explicitly said that it is not a misdemeanor criminal offense, you will be very swiftly removed from the live stream.
I can link my evidence. I'm on my phone. But if you overstay your visa and if you come across the border illegally, they're two different federal crimes. Okay? So that's the domestic policy that you support, which is okay.
He didn't address the point. Well, for everybody listening, we just spoke to him for 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, he addressed absolutely zero things that I said. I broke his brain. That is what a total and complete shutdown of all cognitive function looks like. That is what the collapsing of a worldview, a self-implosion looks like. That is what shining the sun in a cave that has been dark since the formation of Earth as a protoplanet looks like. That is what a pull towards a first conscious experience looks like. That is what an actual, unironic NPC looks like. And I hope that you all look at that and you make the cognitive recognition that that is what the right looks like. See, people on the right, people in MAGA, they don't function like you and me. They don't. They don't use their cognitive capabilities to come to these conclusions. They don't critically think to come to these conclusions. Fuck, that last guest, he didn't think at all. Right? It is just a spew of talking points and rhetoric. And as soon as that vomit of talking points and rhetoric contradicts reality, what do? They ignored reality. And in that circumstance, he ignored reality, even when reality was confronting him face on. Even when reality was being heard by his ears and seen by his eyes. When it was not just knocking on his door, but attempting to shake his hand. Go ahead. Welcome in, Jug. Do you support Trump?
Hello?
Hi, do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, could you disconnect any Bluetooth devices that you have connected to your phone?
Will do.
All right. While Jug is working on disconnecting any and all Bluetooth devices, there's a couple people that we got to thank. Alexander, thank you so much for the $30 donation over on Cash App 4 minutes ago. Can we get 300 Alexander W's down below? Thank you so much for the love, Alexander. As well as Christina, thank you for the $15 over on PayPal. Christina says, I had a debate with a coworker about abortion yesterday and successfully changed her mind by using the argument. Dude, that's awesome, Christina. That is so good. Good for you. Thank you for the love for the $15, as well as good shit for convincing and changing their mind. Thank you for the $15 Christina. I want to see 150 Christina W's down below. As well as I want to see 200 Lauren W's for the $20 over on PayPal. They say, share your thoughts on the reopening of the Cheyenne Mountain Reentry Center as an ICE detention center in Colorado Springs. I don't know anything about that. I'll look into that and I'll share my thoughts the next time I'm live. I got you, Lauren, and thank you so much for the $20. Let's get 200 Lauren W's and then 150 Sarah W's for the $15 over on PayPal. Talking about that crazy couple from the other day. Yeah, they were insane. And then Ranja, thank you for the penny. And then Anonymous with the $6 over on PayPal. I appreciate that for you, from you, Anonymous. And then Riley with the $5 on PayPal as well. Kelly with the $10 over on Venmo. Please DM me what anxiety pin that you use. I really need the kind of patience that you had with that last guy. Oh, trust me, that patience has just been something that I've had to learn and teach myself over the years. Thank you for the love, Kelly. And then also Kiara with the $5 over on Venmo and Hope with the 10. Thank you guys for the love. AJ, Darling, and Maddox all with the $5 over under the Venmo. Thank you guys for the love. And Jug, are you driving?
I am, but is it bad? Or?
Can't have you on the live while you're driving, man. Appreciate you for being patient. Feel free to request when you're not driving. Sinner with the $5 over on YouTube Super Chat says, Dean, I think that last guest just fundamentally didn't know what a misdemeanor was and that it's reserved for petty or criminal offenses. Probably not. I mean, I wanted to get into the nuances of that with him, but he obviously didn't want to get into them with me. Hello, do you support Trump?
I do.
Age, please.
I'm 44.
Yeah, I don't trust that for a second. Moving on to the next guest. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you support Trump and you'd like to come up onto the live to have a conversation with us. Here we go, everybody. Thomas, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Saying, missed the music discussion live stream in your live last night, but I'd like to know your thoughts on the band Sleep Token. I don't think I've ever heard of them. I'll check them out. Thank you for the $10, Thomas. Show some love to Thomas down below, y'all. As well as help with the dollar over on Venmo saying I missed the message on your last donation. I'll scroll back up and give it a read. Welcome in, Ashley. Do you support Trump?
Sorry, my toddler hit the request button.
No worries at all, Ashley. For the 6,000 people in the live stream on TikTok, everybody, make sure that you're double tapping on that phone screen and sharing out that live with a handful of friends. We honestly may need to hit a restart on that stream. I think that last guest was so insufferable that it just kind of just scared away the viewership. Moving into the next guest here, everybody. We're going to move on to the next guest right now, y'all. Welcome in, Sam. Do you support Trump? And Sam said, goodbye, guys. If you happen to be one of the 6,000 people watching, put a mag in that chat with your age. I'll happily get you loaded in. We may, like I said, may need to do a restart because just right now we don't have enough guests. We don't have enough viewers to get a bunch of Trump supporters. Like, you'd be surprised, I know. 6,000 people, we should be able to find some Trump supporters. We only have 20 guest requests, and most of them are probably trolls. Welcome in, Trezzo. Do you support Trump? Yeah, see what I mean? Most of them are either trolls, people that didn't mean to join the queue, or people that just joined the queue not to debate, but to just literally join and not even talk at all. So we may have to do a restart. I know, which is crazy. By the way, if you would like to support me and help pay for the therapy that I'm going to need after that last guest, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio, y'all. I get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms, as well as I'll give you a shout out. Like Rick, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Rick says, keep fighting the good fight. Mr. Rick, I appreciate you for the love, and thank you so much for being in here and watching the stream for the day. Moving on to the next guest, we got Dustin loading in, everybody. It looks like Dustin head off. We're going to try to get Adrian loaded in. Not too many people want to come up right now. If we can't get anybody up in the next 5 minutes or so, we will be trying to do a restart. Welcome in, Adrian. Do you support Trump? See, Adrian left. It looks like there's a lot of people in the queue that aren't supposed to be there. Here's what I will say. So hopefully we could just kind of isolate down for the people that are following the rules that do want to debate. If you're in the queue and you're not here to debate, I'm going to ban you. So do leave the queue unless you want to be banned. Welcome in, Brooklyn. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Age, please.
19.
18. What year were you born in?
2008.
And you're 18?
Mm-hmm.
What month? Okay. Moving on to the next guest. Mods, please ban Brooklyn for breaking the rules. Once again, the rules are you got to be at least 18 years old. You got to be an American citizen, and you got to support Donald J. Trump and be ready and willing to debate. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get Owen up in here. E. Jordy, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat saying that you're so good at attempting to debate MAGA friend. Thank you. Adam Mockler sent me over. Really, I hope Adam's doing all right. I hope he's doing all right. I've been seeing him kill it recently. Welcome in, Owen. Do you support Trump?
I do.
All right. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Perfect. What year were you born in?
2005.
2005. What month?
January.
You'd be 20 if you were born in January of 05, Owen. Mods, go ahead and ban Owen too. We're going to go ahead and give it another attempt to try to get a Trump supporter up in here. If we can't get one with this next guest, we're going to restart the stream. And then I'm going to give you guys some like actionable goals to do once we restart the stream so we can hopefully get debates. Well, welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Is it you?
It is you.
Hi.
Oh, that is a child. All right. So unfortunately, at this point, everybody, we are going to go ahead and restart the live because we probably need around 8.5 thousand people watching the stream in order just to have a flow of Trump supporters, which is crazy. It's just like the proportion of Trump supporters that see this live and are willing to request up and debate me is seriously around 0.001% of them. So we need to have thousands and thousands of viewers on the TikTok stream in order to just get a debate, which is absurd. But real quick, Anonymous, thank you for the $14 over on PayPal. They say, please check my messages on my last 2 donations. Thank you. Okay, I'll check them out. Thank you for the $14. Show some love to Anon down below in that chat. Now, here's the actionable steps for the 6,000 people watching to do once we hit the restart. Make sure to hit that follow button if you haven't already so you'll get the notification when I restart here in 10 seconds. As well as once the live ends, you'll see my profile picture. Click on my profile picture, count to 10, restart, then refresh my account. Then you'll see the live emblem. Relight around my PFP, then just click back in. I'm seriously going to restart in like sub 10 seconds. So it's going to be super duper quick. I would really appreciate it if you'd come back. Like if you're watching right now and like you're thinking that you don't want to come back, F you. No, I'm just kidding. But guys, please, 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 please come back. And then as soon as we're back, spam the like, spam the share, spam the chat. Just do anything and everything in our power so we could hopefully get right back to the debates. Like I said, like unfortunately, like we need to like just get the like engagement of the live up in order for us to get debates. I think it's ridiculous that we could be rocking like 6,000 viewers without anybody that wants to debate. That just means that we got to try to push the live out more. And I'll see you all in 10 seconds. All right. We are already hitting the restart, everybody. It is so ridiculous that we could be live with so many people not have any Trump supporters. We literally have to manufacture a viral live in order to get people that want to debate. Just completely beats me. Completely beats me. But we've already started the restart over on TikTok, so here we go. Dolores, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo for the therapy. I appreciate you for that love, Dolores, dude. Everybody show some love to Dolores down below in that comment section for the $20 for the therapy bills. Let's start that restart over on TikTok with a bunch of W Doloreses down below. W Doloreses down below. And for everybody tuning back in over on that TikTok restart, guys, make sure that we're spamming the likes, spamming the shares, and hopping in that queue if we support Trump. And W Dolores is for the $20 donation on Venmo for the therapy. Thank you, Dolores. Now, we're going to go ahead and not skip a beat and just hop straight into the debate. So if you happen to be watching and you support Trump, hop in that queue. I'm going to go ahead and just lay out the rules. Super duper simple to y'all, though. Got to be at least 18, support Trump, and be ready and willing to debate. Those are the rules. Make sure that we're following them. If you're not following them, you're going to be banned. And if you want to skip the queue, just put a MAGA with your age down below and I'll invite you up.
Oh my God, Dean.
Do you support Trump?
No.
All right. I'm sorry. I do appreciate you for the love. We are going to ban you, though, just because I made the rules explicitly clear and you didn't follow them. So, mods, please ban them while we're working on moving on to this next guest. What's up? Are you MAGA?
No, I'm just
okay.
I'm
Then ban them too, everybody. Go ahead and ban them too, guys. Mods, ban them too. Moving on to the next guest. I don't know why you guys are just wanting to get banned. What is going on? Do you support Trump? Gotta go.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
32.
32. Take it away. Tell us why you support the man, the myth, the failure. Donald J. Trump is president. Go for it.
All right, you're gonna wreck me on this, but so I think I support him because he's actually adding some change, and he's showing all the loopholes that we have on our system.
Okay, so change isn't always positive. You know, like if I'm happily married for 25 years and, you know, I divorce my wife to find somebody new, you know, that's not always going to be a positive thing, even though it always is a change. So what is the change that Donald Trump has introduced to this country that is positive?
Well, I think a lot of things are going downhill, and I think he's stirring stuff up and bringing, kind of showing up a lot of light into all the issues that we have.
Like which ones?
I think the border.
The border, what
what
has he done for the border that's been positive? What is your favorite Donald Trump border policy he's implemented so far?
I'll say he's I guess the whole way he's having ICE going around doing all that.
Oh, well,
think-
that has nothing to do with the border. That is immigration policy. It's not border policy. That's mass deportation. So you're saying that mass deportation is a positive, right?
Can I say how that affects the border?
By like scaring undocumented entry away?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but still, yet, it would have to be a positive to do the mass deportation in the first place in order for the second order consequence of scared undocumented entry away in order to be positive as well. So we're going to start on base number 1 by you giving me an argument that mass deportation is a good thing for this country. I'm going to make it super easy on you. The way I'd like you to do this is by just simply naming one positive outcome of mass deportation on this country or the people in it. And I'm going to ask you to be incredibly specific with your response here.
All right, it's going to be a tough one because all I can think of is it's scaring a lot of illegals from being here, and the ones that are here and the ones that are going to cross.
Okay, but this isn't like, what is the positive outcome that is reaped for this country by doing that? Does it help our economy? Does it help crime rates? Does it help standard qualities of living? Does it help straining public resources? Does it help like spending for our government spend less? Does it help our government make more? Like, what are the specific positive outcomes here that mass deportation has on this country? Because if you were to ask me what are the specific negative outcomes, I'd be able to give you a handful. You know, it cuts the GDP by an estimated 1.1 trill through 1.7 trill per year. It cuts government revenue by $100 billion per year, cost $2 trillion over 10 years, reduces average qualities of lives, makes our manufacturers less productive, increases crime rates by increasing poverty. These are very specific negative outcomes of mass deportation. So I'm going to ask you now to name some very specific positive outcomes of mass deportation.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think a lot of the positive things are going to come in the future.
Well, what are the future positive things that we'll see? Tell me.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that it'll help people get back into the country legally.
It'll only make the lines longer, which actually makes it harder for people to get in the country legally.
Yeah,
so that's not true.
Which I think is what should be being tackled right now is the method in which people get into the country.
I agree
rather than just getting everyone
110%.
out.
I agree 110%, but you're still not answering my question. Tell me the positive outcomes of mass deportation for this country, either now or in the long term. That is the burden of proof that you have right now to demonstrate that it's a good policy. Because if you can't do that, well, guess what? I'm able to list off, like I said, 5 reasons why mass deportation hurts this country. If you can't even list off one way it helps the country, by what rational standard would we be able to assume that mass deportation is anything but a shit agenda that puts this country last?
Yeah, let me think about it. That's a really good answer. That's a really good point. I haven't thought about that.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, if you want some time to think about it and you want to come back once you maybe can name some positive outcomes, I'm all for that, man. I mean, I want people to do their research. That is why I host these lives. So if this just is incentivizes you to do your research, it's great.
I've been prepared multiple times in the past and waited like hours and then didn't get in. So I was like happy to get in. Just give me 10 seconds to think.
Man, I'm gonna go ahead and load up another guest. Take all the time you need. What's up, Jake? How old are you?
I'm 18.
18. Do you support Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Really, Jake? Okay, I have a question. Why do you support somebody that's been held civilly liable for rape, criminally charged with 34 felonies, and has now been essentially proven to be was best friends with a billionaire child rapist human trafficker, while he also knew that he was a billionaire child rapist?
Bro, why are you whining? You already won. Cry about it.
So I'm not crying about it. I'm critiquing him. It's really important for us to critique the president because social support is the hidden check and balance of what the president does. If we are not critical of what the president does, then the president does whatever they want to. And obviously that is not always a good thing. So Jake actually left. He couldn't handle the facts and reasons, so he hit the hit the low road, I should say. We're going to move that next guest up here. We are running through them so fast. Welcome in Girth. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Age, please.
White, 23. Sorry.
Cool. It looks like you got some audio issues, man. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. If you have any Bluetooth devices connected to your phone, if you disconnect them, that'll be great. Or if you could just bring your mic a little bit closer to your face, that would also be great. Now, Gadako's back. Go ahead, Gadako. What are some positive outcomes of mass deportation? Okay, Gadako just left. Mr. Brook, it's back to you. Take it away. Why do you support the man, the myth, the failure, Trump as president?
Well, one, because they're exploiting the labor of these people that come across. They can just pay them a lot less than they can Americans.
Okay.
And there's a lot of drug crime that comes with bringing.
I'm muting you just to let you know real quick that you can't say the specific names of any DRUGS. The reason you can't say the specific names of any DRUGS is because it will restrict the live and ban your account. I didn't want to mute you there. I don't like interrupting, plus you're being respectful, so that's fine. I just had to let you know what the TikTok terms of service flags for. Go ahead and unmute your mic and take it away.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Just so I can say the D word, but I'm not allowed to be specific.
Even saying the D word gets a flag, so that's why I like to spell it out.
Okay, yeah. Yes, so there's a lot of that comes along with them because obviously it's easy for them to have access in their country, so to bring it over.
Sorry, man, I got to put you on mute again because you got a lot of background noise there. Is it possible for you to go into a little bit more of a quiet place in your house? The background sound is just a little bit too loud for me, man.
Yeah, I muted up. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was that loud. Yeah, so there's a lot of that comes along with them, and then mainly the labor is the biggest thing because they can exploit people in trades and other things to pay them less instead of paying Americans more.
Cool. I'll go ahead and respond to that point. You are right that employers exploit undocumented immigrants more than they exploit American citizens. You're right that because of that, undocumented immigrants get lower wages on average. But now we need to ask ourselves why. Why do you think that employers have an easier time exploiting immigrants, undocumented immigrants to be more specific, compared to citizens?
Because, well, one, they've already worked a lot of physically demanding labor jobs in their country is like what goes on a lot right now. But so when they come over
false hypothesis, because your hypothesis that they were more used to working more physically demanding jobs from the countries that they came from, well, then we'd also expect legal immigrants to get paid less on average, but we don't see that either. So that hypothesis is necessarily not true.
If you look at how their country has evolved, the tools and everything that they use is kind of like 20 years, 30 years behind from what we usually use standardized for most of our tools.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure that claim is true, but once again, the root of your claim here is false, right? Saying that they get paid lower wages on average because of something to do with the conditions of the country that they came from. The reason why we know that claim is false is because then we would thereby also expect legal immigrants to get paid lower wages on average because they're also coming from countries outside of America, and we don't see that. So the real reason why undocumented immigrants get paid lower wages on average compared to citizens is because they don't possess residency or citizenship, meaning they possess less bargaining power against their employer because they're under the threat of being deported. They don't have long-term survivability in the economy. Their employer can report them to ICE if they don't do what they want. It's easier to exploit them for that reason, less bargaining power on average. Now,
but they also pay in less to the government, so then it doesn't make sense. Like, they don't need to get paid the extra amount that we usually get, which is actually, for most cases, they work out how much taxes are and the median wage, what's livable. So when someone comes in that doesn't have to follow those guidelines, they can kind of abuse that. They don't really need to get paid the same amount. 20 an hour isn't the worst thing to someone that doesn't have to pay in all the time. You know what I'm saying? They still have to pay for taxes on food and state taxes. You can't avoid that certain stuff. But when you're talking about every year, how much, if you made over a certain amount, you have to pay in. You're not taking from the government. So if they were to do that,
I'm going to shoot in the dark with a response here. To be honest, I'm not clear on what you just said. What you just said, it was very unclear. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. I think that you were trying to communicate a point about how undocumented immigrants don't have to pay taxes. They're not held to the same legal labor requirements, etc. Well, that's false. Undocumented immigrants do have to pay taxes just like citizens. Everybody making money in America has to pay taxes. And they do pay taxes. Undocumented immigrants pay around $100 billion in taxes per year, as well as the same legal labor requirements that are held to citizens are also held to undocumented immigrants. Once again, I'm not sure what point you made. So under the table, well, guess what? Paying somebody under the table is illegal. So they still have those legal requirements imposed on them. Now, if your argument is that they're more likely to get paid under the table than citizens, you're likely correct. Why? Because they can't file for a tax return if they work over the table, and they don't qualify for any of the benefits that paying taxes is supposed to pay for, like federal Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. Well, what all that this tells us is that they'd be just as likely to pay taxes over the table as citizens if they were able to file for a tax return or claim federal benefits. How can we ensure that they're able to file a tax return or claim federal benefits? Maybe if we offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship. So it seems like all the issues here that you've pointed out, like the idea that they have less bargaining power on average, therefore it's easy for their employers to exploit them, or that they're more likely to work under the table, therefore it's more likely for
But
their
it's not
employers
our
to exploit
job
them,
as a citizen to take over.
is easy to remedy by simply offering them a pathway to residency or citizenship.
But it's not our job as a citizen to go and take these people that are abusing the power that it's not our fault that it's there. It's not theirs either, but there is loopholes inside of the government that everyone can exploit. And they're coming over and they're using those. And it's not our job to take and remove those type of people. It's the government's job to be the parental guardian, whatever, to their citizens and actually be the responsible ones to do that.
Okay,
And
I'm not gonna lie. Everything that you just said went in one ear, not the other. I simply did not comprehend what you mean. Like, I don't know what you mean. What are you saying? Like, make a coherent point there that I could understand without being confused.
it's not, we're asking you're saying that it's wrong for the government to do this and step in.
Wrong for the
and
government to
remove
do a
these citizens.
deportation?
Yes, you're saying it's wrong for them to do that.
Yeah, yes,
Is that-
I do think that a deportation is a bad, wrong thing because of the negative impacts that it has on this country and the negative impacts that it has on the immigrants. It doesn't help anybody, it hurts everybody. So that's why I think it's wrong.
But all I'm saying is it is, for my opinion, it is right, and it's not our job as a citizen to do that. We pay taxes for the government to do that.
Okay, would you agree with me here that conceptually speaking, a bad policy is a policy that generates more negative outcomes than positive outcomes?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's now see if that would categorize and include mass deportation. Would you agree with me here that if I could demonstrate that mass deportation yields more negative outcomes than positive outcomes, it's a bad policy?
I guess.
Okay, and if you want to argue that it's a good policy, you'll have to demonstrate that it has more positive outcomes than negative outcomes, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
I'll give you the negative outcomes. Let's see if you could give me the positive outcomes. One negative outcome is a significant hit to our GDP, 1.1 trill through 1.7 trill per year. Another negative outcome is a significant hit in reduction in taxable revenue to our federal government, $100 billion per year. Another negative outcome is a destabilized manufacturing sector created by the forceful layoff of the 8.3 million undocumented immigrants working. Another negative outcome is the very significant hit on the consumer side of things by forcefully removing 12 million consumers. All this amounts to the greater negative outcome of a destabilized economy that operates less efficiently. That would include a reduction in the average quality of life and an increase in things such as poverty. Another negative outcome, which would be consequential of an increase in something such as poverty, would be more crime. So, I mean, we'll start there. It could go on and on and on, but there's a bunch of negative outcomes. What are the positive outcomes?
is going to help the labor force in the middle class, because a lot of us are struggling right now because construction fields are able to, like I said, loophole the labor field where they don't have to pay someone as much, or it wouldn't move up. So like what would be the median for what is survivable has to move up some way. We don't have a union, so it has to move up by the prices of everything going up and it just being not worth the job. So someone's just saying, no, I'm not going to do the job. That doesn't make sense. Well, guess what? Jose down the street is willing to do it for any amount of money. So that's why.
I don't think that we should use the name Jose to just refer to undocumented immigrants. That sounds like incredibly incredibly.
Well, I'm not trying to be.
Jose, the undocumented immigrant. No, that just characterizes Hispanic individuals with Latino names as not supposed to be in the country, and that's what leads to outcomes of blatant xenophobia and racism held against Hispanic individuals, telling them that they need to go back to where they came from. Yeah, and that happens a lot because of this rhetoric. In fact, it's even happened to some family friends. That's what happens when we just label undocumented immigrants as Jose's.
I know, but I didn't mean to like say it like that. I was just trying to like give it to like, like explain the story. You gotta feel it a little bit to really understand sometimes.
I have no
Like,
clue. I have no clue what you're saying. I'm going to be honest. Like, I think that you're trying to make a point now that a positive outcome of mass deportation would be to like a positive impact on the labor market, because undocumented immigrants are more willing to accept lower wages on average. It like reduces wages in the sector. Are you saying that if we were to remove them all, that wages in the sector would go up?
yeah, because like I said, no one's willing to do the jobs that are that cheap or for this amount of time.
Oh, okay,
whatever.
sweet. Well, we could also remedy this issue through mass amnesty while also not like just destroying our GDP, destroying our labor force, destroying our manufacturers, and excommunicating 12 million consumers. The reason why I say that mass amnesty or the naturalization of undocumented immigrants would fix this is because the reason why they accept lower wages is because they have less bargaining power due to the fact that they're not residents or citizens. If we literally make them residents or citizens, they'll have just as much bargaining power as everybody else, meaning that they won't be more likely to accept lower wages on average, remedying the issue that you've been able to point out in the labor force generated by undocumented immigrants working, while also not, reducing our GDP by the trillions of dollars that I said, not increasing the crime
A lot
rates
of them
by
know
the-
they're not going to get the documentation, and that's why they sneak over ahead of time, because they know they fail in certain qualifications, certain arrests, whatever, yada yada yada.
What is this
And
guy
they
saying?
know they're not going to pass that, so that's why they sneak over anyway. They don't care about documentation or any of that. They don't. It's not that for them.
Oh, that's not true at all. So that's a completely false claim. No. So absolutely not. The main incentive for undocumented entry isn't like pre-existing prior criminal offenses that would make one not pass a system of naturalization. It's the fact that the legal means of entry are just too unattainable. It takes 20 to 25 years to become a citizen. That's the main reason why individuals come into this country with the use of undocumented means, not because they have prior violent criminal offenses. My evidence for that is if you are like a violent criminal, if you have committed a prior violent criminal offense, the likelihood of you recommitting is like incredibly high. In some places in America, it's like 72%. So if like your statement was true that most undocumented immigrants like have prior criminal offenses that would prevent them from passing a system of like naturalization or legal entry, well, then we'd expect their crime rates to be significantly higher, but they're not. They're actually significantly lower.
So how does it help the country? I know obviously it boosts up some of the GDP.
No.
because it's helping
You're
them
still
on the
trying
farms.
you're still trying to give me a positive outcome of mass deportation. You haven't been able to tell me one yet.
Well, you're not accepting that it would help the labor force because we don't have a union for most of them, other than like.
Dude, I gave you a counter argument. What was my counter argument?
The amnesty and all this other stuff that you're gonna.
Right. So I didn't accept your conclusion that therefore mass deportation is good because I was able to give you a counter argument that would also increase median wages in sectors such as construction by giving the undocumented immigrants residency or citizenship, thereby giving them more bargaining power. Of course, this would rule out mass deportation.
So you're
as a
saying that
regulation.
more people in my field is going to help me.
Well, actually, yeah. When we have more people buying goods in your fields and we have more people producing goods in your fields,
No,
gonna
but it's
help
the
you in every
labor
other
side.
American.
So more people taking the jobs, more people available is going to help me. That doesn't actually work like that. That's the opposite of what you need. You need a competitive market, but it's not like when you flood the market, it just completely ruins everything.
Okay. Well, question. Do you think that hypothetically you'd be in support of limiting birth rates of American citizens so we stop flooding the market of labor entry?
I mean, I don't think we have high enough birth rates as is, so I don't see how we could flood them.
Right, precisely. And do you think that like your market would be better off or worse off if I just randomly chose like 25% of all construction workers and banned them from ever working again? What kind of impact do you think that'd have on the construction market?
Obviously, it would need to stabilize. It would need some.
If I just snapped my fingers and laid off 25% of construction workers and prevented them from working a day in their life again, what kind of impact would that have on the market, and what kind of impact would that have on the larger economy?
If they're undocumented,
No,
and
they're
not supposed to be there to begin
undocumented. I'm just
with.
saying, like 25% of all construction workers at random. I choose them, I snap my fingers, they're no longer able to work. What kind of impact would that have on the economy?
Obviously a negative. It would slow down the infrastructure by 25%, I would say.
Right. Exactly. That's mass deportation.
But if they're not supposed to be here and they're taking up this, like I said, this space, then we need to stop planning off from this undocumented immigrants as our GDP. That's not like real. We need to be protecting our laws and our citizens.
Wait. I just want to clarify. Just because you can say that they're not supposed to be here, that does not change the economic impact of their removal.
Okay, so I get that you can use them as a labor force, but that does not mean that they need to be here or they have a right to be here for citizens that pay taxes for the government to protect the laws that they're trying to uphold.
Under a mass deportation, you'd pay more taxes since there'd be a lower total amount of people paying taxes.
But there wouldn't be as many people needed on the border or as paid ICE agents because of the amount of deportation needed because of the Biden administration. So
I don't even understand what the Biden administration has to do. The last claim that I made to refute your abundantly false claim to justify mass deportation. Stay on topic. You made the claim that something is positive about the removal of all undocumented immigrants in this country because citizens pay taxes. I just simply refuted that claim by saying that citizens would actually pay more in taxes since there'd be a lower total amount of taxpayers.
Well, it's the opposite for me. I get that you're on the side of the undocumented immigrant, but as a taxpayer, I feel like our rights are more like they should definitely uphold our rights more. Like, why are we fighting for the rights of undocumented immigrants over the rights of citizens in the United States?
So now you're suggesting a false dichotomy because what the assumption here is if we don't deport undocumented immigrants, somehow citizens will suffer. No, actually the opposite is true, and I've already given you the argument for it. If we do a mass deportation, the citizens will suffer because they'll be working in a suboptimal economy with less production, less consumers, and a lower GDP. Citizens suffer if we do a mass deportation. And guess what? Citizens flourish if we do mass amnesty. Your life becomes better if we do mass amnesty. Real median wages goes up if we do mass amnesty. GDP growth is boosted if we do mass amnesty. Poverty goes down if we do mass amnesty. Taxable government revenue goes up if we do mass amnesty.
But why couldn't they have done it the legal way? Why couldn't we have just done it that way and grown our GDP the right way and assert like they're not adding too much to the GDP
now you're just
anyway.
Back to resuggesting a non-economic argument. Dude, if you're gonna come at me with economic claims saying that somehow the average American citizen is made economically worse off by allowing undocumented immigrants to stay in the country, or if we were to give undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, and then as soon as I prove that the opposite claim is true, that your life is made economically worse off by their removal, then you just pivot back to this like idea of the fact that we need to enforce the law even if it makes your life worse. You're just completely like convoluting the conversation we're having. You're trying to argue 2 points at once to obfuscate from the fact that you don't have any cogent rebuttal to the claims that I'm making. So, I mean, if you want to stick on the topic that we need to deport them no matter what the impact is on America as a country because they broke the law and we need to be tough on crime, well, think about it this way. I now have an argument that you shouldn't support Trump, and I don't even need to prove that Trump is bad at his job in order to uphold it. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is a 34-count felon, and at the end of the day, Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for rape. So I need to make this point clear, even if I can accept that Donald Trump has a positive impact on America as the president, well, if we just kind of hold to your hyperbolic view that regardless of what the impact is of immigrants on this country, or regardless of what the impact of mass amnesty would be on this country, they broke the law, we need to get them out, regardless of what Trump's impact is on the country, or regardless of how effective he is as a president for the country, he broke the law 34 times and was held civilly liable for raping a woman, we need to get him out.
But if there was anything that could have stopped him from becoming president, what the Democrats have already tried that, like they did with the 34 counts of paying his lawyer. So like I don't
well,
get
okay.
it.
Wow. So now you're rhetorically talking down the felonies that he committed, acting as if they're no big deal. So therefore you don't care he committed them. You still think he should be president. You understand that legally speaking, they're classified as a bigger deal than undocumented entry into this country under under 8 USC subpenal code 1385 and the typical execution of such, which is the code in which makes undocumented entry into this country a federal crime. They're adjudicated as misdemeanors, which is a lower level offense than a felony, and it was felonies in which Donald Trump was found guilty of. So legally speaking, he did something worse than undocumented entry 35 times. So if you want to play down the 35 criminal offenses Trump was guilty of, you should thereby obviously play down the offenses that undocumented immigrants are guilty of, because legally speaking, it is literally a less severe infraction upon our upon our legislation.
But the best thing you guys have on him is 34 counts of the lawyer stuff, and then that grape that no one even really knows if it really happened. She called it out 15, 20 years later. And
Respond to what I just said. Why are you ignoring what I just said? You just said the best thing we have on Trump is something worse than undocumented entry. So if that's not enough to keep him out of the White House, why is that enough to keep immigrants out of this country?
He's fighting the issues that the Biden administration started. He didn't let in this amount. No other president has let over this amount of undocumented immigrants during their administration. So what he's doing is trying to take charge and overcompensate for the undercompensation of an administration.
So are you saying that you don't care that he committed these 35 felonies because he's benefiting the country?
No, I thought we were trying to go on to immigrants. So if we're trying to
I think that you're confused on the argument. I'll make the argument incredibly clear. Just listen, and I think that you'll be able to understand. You're saying that you don't care that he committed these 34 felonies. You don't think that these 34 felonies are serious, right?
I think it's here nor there that if it was something that could have stopped him from becoming president, it already would have. So if it's not that big, then why should anyone worry?
The way that it stopped him from becoming president is by convincing most voters to hold it as a red line against him. So I don't understand what that argument is doing for you, because obviously just because most people don't think it's that serious doesn't mean that it is that serious. I mean, they also did this with his associations with Epstein. They did this with his attempted coup of the federal election in 2020. Popular support for fascists is probably not going to be a good argument to demonstrate that fascist is good for this country. So I'm going to go back to what I said. Do you think that Donald Trump's 34 felonies are sufficiently wrong to keep him out of the Oval Office?
No, based on what I've inquired about the details of the case, I don't think so.
And make it explicitly clear for us. Why do you think that they're not sufficiently wrong to keep him out of the Oval Office?
Because it had nothing to do with colluding or treason or anything that would be like against the United States in that way. He did something that is against the law in maybe certain counties or states inside of the United States, but it's not something that is widely illegal.
Are you trying to say that it's like a victimless crime that didn't really hurt anyone?
In a sense, but
okay.
I mean,
so if we shouldn't just take victimless crimes that don't really hurt anybody too seriously. Well, not only is undocumented entry a victimless crime that doesn't hurt anybody, but I mean it actually helps a lot of people by ensuring faster GDP growth, by ensuring our government has more money to spend on social safety nets. They're productive economic providers that makes this country better off. So I mean, you know, if you want to argue that his felonies weren't that serious to keep him out of the Oval Office, then why should I believe that you do believe that undocumented entry is serious enough to keep immigrants out of this country?
Because first off, I don't think it's safe for the undocumented immigrants that are trying to cross over. Some of them, they're classed on how much money they can pay the coyote to cross them across the border. So they wear like little bands, and if they have like a lower level band, then they can basically do whatever they want with them, no matter the age.
So good point. You're just saying that undocumented entry into this country is unsafe for the immigrants. I actually agree. That's why I think that we should eradicate undocumented entry by making the legal means of entry into this country significantly better, thereby granting no incentive for undocumented entry in the first place. Because the main incentive for undocumented entry is going to be the unattainability of the legal means of entry into this country. But we're not talking about the people that are actively crossing the border. We're talking about the people that are in this country productively providing to our economy that already crossed the border. You're saying those people should be deported because it was unsafe for them to enter into the first place? I don't think that makes much sense.
Because if we just act as if that the borders of our country are just a phase through, anyone can just cross through, and we shouldn't really hold anyone accountable. The laws don't really matter.
Don't talk about accountability. You put a rapist in the Oval Office. Shut up, bro. Shut up. I don't want to hear about accountability. Dude, you support a president that unironically gave presidential pardons to people that stomped on cops' heads on January 6th. You don't care. He called them patriots. Or what about DJ Rodriguez? He drove a stun gun, a fucking taser, into a cop's neck on J6 and gave him a heart attack, and he's still going to therapy for PTSD because of it. Donald Trump let him out of jail and called him a patriot. What the fuck are you yapping about? Accountability for crimes? Come on.
Whatever in 1982 that actually bring a BOMB to the Capitol. You don't remember that? And she was a
1980
leftist.
in 1982. That was like 20 years before
And
I
then
was
Bill
born.
Clinton freed her. He pardoned her, presidentially pardoned her after 18 years in
Well,
prison.
well, unlike you, I'm not a fucking cultist. If somebody brought a literal BOMB to the Capitol, they should go to jail and serve out the entirety of their term. And if Clinton fucking pardoned
apparently
them,
that's not
I
what your
disagree
side
with
thinks.
that.
That's what the leftist side did, though.
So
like,
I just want to
what's
clarify,
worse?
in order for you to think you're winning this debate, you have to treat Dean Withers like Bill Clinton, and you think that I can't have any ideological disalignments with Bill Clinton. Okay, all right, let's play that game. Let's treat each other's side of the aisles as fucking monoliths. Because we got Nick Fuentes over on the right that denies the Holocaust and thinks that Hitler's a good guy. Guess what? You deny the Holocaust, you think Hitler's a good guy, you're a Nazi, and you deserve to be socially scrutinized. Oh, is that unfair? Oh, well, it's probably super unfair for you to equivocate between me and Bill Clinton, saying that if I disagree with anything on Bill Clinton, I'm not truly a progressive, and you've somehow won the debate because you've been able to point out somebody on the left has done.
I can bring up propaganda from each side, too. There's a whole bunch, like the 1982 BOMB thing, like it actually did happen. It wasn't like a hypothetical that she brought it there and this and that. No,
Are you ready to
did
be exposed
happen.
as
She
a
got
hypocrite?
arrested.
Are you ready to be exposed as a hypocrite?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you care that Clinton pardoned that lady?
Yeah, I do. Why should she be pardoned?
Oh, well, the hypocrisy would be rooted in the fact that you don't care Donald Trump pardoned the violent offenders on January 6th. Your own argument actually works against you. Because, see, from my perspective, I care about both instances. From my perspective, it was wrong for Trump to pardon people that stomped on cops' heads and tried to kill them with tasers. And I'd also likely say that it was wrong for Bill Clinton to pardon whoever brought a BOMB to the Capitol. Do I know anything about it? No. On the surface level, can I say it's prima facie wrong? Sure. But see, you're the hypocrite because from your perspective, you don't care that Donald Trump let these violent offenders that did the things that I've already described to you and called him patriots.
But you guys call us out
But you
for
do
doing
care
that.
what
Like,
Bill
we're the
Clinton
first
did.
ones
So
to
my
raid the
question,
Capitol.
sir, here is, why are you hypocritical? Why are you such a hypocrite? Why do you only care when people on the left, such as Bill Clinton, pardon people that did bad things at the Capitol? But you don't care at all that Donald Trump called people that tried to unalive cops patriots and let them out of jail. Answer to your hypocrisy.
I'm just asking why you're calling my kettle black when we have a case before January 6th in 2026 or 2016 or whenever that happened that actually was from a leftist side that raided the Capitol and did their own thing. Instead of trying to
guess
protest,
what?
they
I'd
bring
actually
a BLM.
disagree with both. But the year is 1982. The year is 2025. Clinton's not president. Trump is president. So I'm probably going to put a little bit more emphasis on what Trump is doing compared to what Bill did. But in a sentence or less, I'll condemn what Bill did. But hopefully, we could speak for a little bit more than a single sentence about what the current president of America is doing, not what a president did close to 40 years ago.
Oh yeah, we can move on.
Close to 25 years ago.
Squabble about it, like it's fine. Like, I
So
was
then
just
go
trying
ahead
to
and
bring-
respond to the fact that you told us you care about accountability for crime. And if you do care about accountability for crime, how come you support a president that called these people patriots and pardoned them, even though they try to kill cops?
Well, I can condemn them too, I guess. If we're just condemning all of the stuff that the other side did, I mean.
Oh, really? So you condemn that action of Trump?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he condemned it before they even did it. That's why he tweeted on Twitter that he didn't want anyone to rally outside of the
What?
White
No, he
House.
obviously didn't condemn what he did. And no, in the rally outside of the White House, he started that. You just don't know your facts. You're obviously misspeaking. But anyways, if you think that Donald Trump condemned the actions of DJ Rodriguez, well, then obviously you don't know that he pardoned him for his violent crime. I'd assume, because if you're trying to make the argument that he disagreed with what DJ Rodriguez did, but also pardoned him for what he did, this seems like an belligerent contradiction. You know, like imagine that I set a guideline with my child that he can't be on the Xbox past 8:30 p.m. But then when he stays on the Xbox past 8:30 p.m., I give him $1,000 and an ice cream cone, right? Like obviously I'm not going to condemn him being on the Xbox past 8:30 p.m. Now, if you want to say that Donald Trump condemned what DJ Rodriguez did on January 6th, but then turned around, called him a patriot, and let him out of jail 8 years early. Yeah, once again, that's kind of like the hypothetical I just gave you, except letting DJ Rodriguez out of jail 8 years early is probably more of a reward than giving my child staying on the Xbox past 8:30 p.m. $1,000 and an ice cream cone.
Well, is a guy that walked through the Capitol more violent than a girl that bring a BOMB and then got pardoned after only like 18 years of being in prison. So like the thing is,
Yeah, what's the thing?
what
Because
he
I don't even
did
think that you
is
know what you're saying.
patriotic.
I just want to be very clear. I don't even think that you know what you're saying. I don't understand the relevance of what Trump's pardons are compared to what Clinton's pardons were. Maybe you want to argue that I'm a hypocrite because I only care about what Trump did, but not Clinton. However, I've completely like repeated like a billion times now that I'd care about Clinton if he did that too. So I don't understand why you keep on repeating this argument. Like this argument is essentially like saying if Donald Trump literally murdered somebody, well, Jeffrey Dahmer also murdered people. Like, okay, they both murdered people. Congratulations. And what does this tell us about why you defend Donald Trump murdering somebody? It's just, it says nothing. It serves no conceptual relevance.
The only major thing that you guys have on us, you guys have also done as a lefty, though. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't look at it as president. I look at it as left and right, Republican, Democrat. Anyone on one side is on one side.
I'm so confused. This would only be an argument if you were talking to somebody that defend those things if the left had done them.
But
like you understand that though, like you
you
understand like that would only be a good argument if somebody defended the hypocrisy.
No, I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy and saying that
it's not what's hypocritical. Wait, what is hypocrisy? Like define that phrase. I don't think you even know what it means to be hypocritical. What does it mean to be hypocritical? Tell me.
To call someone out and then do the same thing right afterwards.
Right, precisely.
Or have done it before, done it.
Fucking precisely. It would be hypocritical for me to call Trump out, but not to call Clinton out, right?
No, it would be hypocritical to call out January 6th when you guys have already done it before.
Oh,
that's what I was saying.
No, that's not a good argument at all. Can we agree?
Because it happened before time.
No,
you know
that's not a good.
1982 before 2016.
That is not a good argument at all. Could we agree that there has been like something I don't know, like what is like the worst thing any Democratic president has ever done? Let's assume that Bill Clinton was in the Epstein files and was a child rapist. Okay? All right. And let's also assume that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and Donald Trump is a child rapist. If
Allegedly.
I were to say in this hypothetical version of reality, that's definitely not true, that Donald Trump should be impeached for being a child rapist, would that be hypocritical because Bill Clinton was also a child rapist? And if Bill Clinton was president, I would say he should be impeached as well.
I don't think, well, I'm going to get this off first. I think that if Donald Trump had done that in that scenario, I obviously, even as a Republican, would also think that he should be impeached. But it would, in a sense, be hypocritical to call someone out that didn't get impeached for the same crime if they had known. And it was like the same case, like they knew he had done it and still elected him and still chose not to impeach him or do anything about the crimes.
So yeah, very nice. You're telling me that if we figured out Trump was a child rapist, it would be hypocritical for me to call this out. You don't know what hypocrisy is. You're pretty stupid.
How is it not hypocritical to call someone out for something you also did have done?
I didn't do that. I would call both of the people that did do that out.
So I think we're on the same page.
Think about it. Wait, think about it this way. If there was somebody on the left that was hailing Hitler, would you be a hypocrite in calling that out because there's also people on the right that hail Hitler?
Yeah. If I said, oh my God, the left is bad because they're doing this, while the right has a huge side that is also doing that.
But in the same breath, you also condemn the people on the right that hailed Hitler.
Obviously, in a, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you take it out of context, yes, you can say that. But, like...
Dude, why are you conceding to this? Like, what the hell? This is crazy to me. Like your conception of what hypocrisy is just completely meaningless because the left and the right are such large political movements that you're going to find bad eggs on each side. You no longer have an ability to call like any Democrat out for anything ever because the chances of that same action being committed by somebody on the right is incredibly high. Like real quick, literally call any Democrat ever out for anything. Go for it. I'm gonna expose you as a hypocrite right now, operating under your conception of what you think hypocrisy is. Call any Democrat out for anything bad they've ever done. I dare you.
Defunding Doge.
What?
Defunding Doge.
What do you mean defunding Doge?
Or isn't that Department of Government, whatever?
How could a Democrat be defunding Doge when Republicans are in charge of all three branches of government right now and have been since before the conception of Doge?
I thought they voted on it before, right? Didn't they vote on the inception or into like actually like paying for it and all that, actually having like a say in it? I don't know. They actually voted it.
Come up with another example of something bad a Democrat has done, because that point made no sense.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of those. Like, I can't really say, so.
You can't really say one bad thing that any Democrat has done ever? Shit, why aren't you a Democrat?
No, I'm saying that wouldn't be hypocrisy, because you're saying that you can find everything. So I don't have any off the top of my head that is like for sure that other side has
Exactly. Point made. If you call it hypocrisy to say that somebody has done a bad thing, even if people like loosely in your same political party have also done the bad thing, regardless if you condemn them to its hypocrisy, thereby you can't call anybody out for any bad thing ever. Precisely. That's why it's not hypocrisy, right? Like an example of how
you didn't even know that your side had done it before already, though.
Yeah, it's because I was born in 2004. In 1982,
I was born in 2001.
I was a thought. Maybe not even a thought. I don't think my parents were even. No, I wasn't even a thought. My parents were like barely going to college. Now, an example of hypocrisy as it would apply here would be like me condemning Trump for this, while like not condemning Clinton.